All right. And another gentleman, I told him to call in today. His name is Roy from Tennessee. I cut him off yesterday because time was limited. But Roy from Tennessee, you're live on the Pete Santilli Show. Welcome back. Thanks for coming back.
You're welcome, Pete. Thank you for taking my call.
Listen, you know what? I want you to just go ahead, and I'm going to sit there and just listen to what you had to say yesterday. I was very intrigued by it, but let's have the conversation now.
Okay. Last night we talked about the November 5th plan, okay? Mm-hmm. And I had made the comment that, you know, to think that you're going to go up there and mass arrest all the politicians at the District of Columbia, which is a corporation that resides in the country of America, it's just not going to happen. In the field of battle, they hold the high ground. The laws that you and I and all your listeners are forced to comply by do not apply to them.
Mm-hmm.
And I can prove that with a simple statement of Social Security. They don't pay into it. They don't, Obamacare, they're exempt. All the laws they pass, they're exempt. So to think that you're going to go up there and arrest them, the mass arrest will be those that go. That's not the way to take the country back. Now and understand that under the law of Admiralty law, common law, UCC law, okay, and all go back to the Roman times, they're all going to go back to their appropriate states that they represent. When they go back to those states, that's when you can arrest them. And they can be arrested for, obviously, crimes of treason.
Mm-hmm.
They have passed laws that are treasonous laws against the Constitution, the Founding Fathers of America, not the United States Corporation.
Yeah.
And as bizarre as it sounds, Pete, it's a corporation, and if you've ever been in business, and I know you have, a corporation is derived to make money.
Mm-hmm.
And the U.S. corporation is owned by the Queen of England.
Yep.
As crazy as it sounds, it's the God's honest truth. And like Bill Cooper always preached, verify it for yourself. Don't listen to me, listeners. Look it up. All the proceeds go to the Queen of England. Everybody's got a boss, and that's who the president serves. She's got a boss.
There is a ton. Yes, sir. There's a ton of truth, by the way. I want to let all the listeners know that there's a lot of truth in everything that you're describing that I'm now learning about. And I'm not an expert in this, but I want you to expand on one thing. I want you to share this because you sound very knowledgeable as a sovereign about the corporation. Would you agree that our economic system and basically us essentially signing over from birth, they're putting us up as collateral in a slavery system to make money for the quote-unquote crown? And wouldn't you say
absolute fact?
Our economic system and our legal system is set up dedicated to the crown, and we don't even know that.
Absolute fact.
It's a fact.
You take your birth certificate, the long form,
mm-hmm.
flip it over, you'll see a series of letters and numbers. Go to the New York Stock Exchange, enter those numbers, and you will find yourself being traded on the stock exchange every day.
Are you serious?
I'm absolutely serious.
I want to look into that.
When you give birth to a child in a hospital, the mother is not allowed to leave that hospital until the mother gives a name of the child. They won't let you leave. When the name of the child is issued, a birth certificate is issued. You are now property of the corporation, and therefore the Constitution does not apply to you. Absolute, as bizarre as it sounds, it's absolute fact. So all of those, every time you hear the Constitution, if you got a birth certificate, it doesn't apply to you unless you exempt yourself from the corporation. Now, I don't propose to be an expert, It's just Cooper woke me up 20 years ago, okay?
Mm-hmm.
And he used to publish a newsletter called the Veritas, which is truth. That's what it equates. It's Latin for truth. And you cannot go to the District of Columbia or the District of Criminals at 10 square mile. That's all those people up there, the federal government. It's the only area they're allowed to operate in.
Mm-hmm.
The states give them the right to come into the individual states. And, of course, they're bribed by the states for, hey, you know, if you don't follow our laws, we won't give you any highway money, or we won't give you any EBT cards, or we won't. You see where I'm going?
Yeah, I sure do.
Yeah, so the states allow the FBI, the CIA, the Secret Service, the NSA, all those alphabetical agencies to operate because they're being bribed by tax dollars.
Mm-hmm.
So, if we're going to take the country back, it has to be as simple as, and there's not a single lawyer out there that's going to tell you, remember, when you pass the bar exam, that's the British Admiralty rule, BAR, okay? They serve all these attorneys. There's no attorney-client privilege. That's a crock of bullshit. They serve the courts. The judge wears a black robe because he's a priest. He has the ability to forgive the sin or punish the sin. That's all. These symbols are right in front of you, but nobody understands it, you know, until you study it. And it's not something that's learned in a day or a week or a month. It's something that's learned over a lifetime.
Mm-hmm.
You see where I'm going?
Yeah, no, I sure do. I'm listening very closely.
If we're going to take the country back, we have got to do like Abraham Lincoln did, Andrew Jackson, and JFK. Those three men had one thing in common. They were going to disband fractional reserve banking and put the money back into the Treasury.
Yeah.
Lincoln did it. It was called the Greenback.
Mm-hmm.
And to your listeners, when you follow the Constitution and the Treasury prints the money is debt-free.
Yeah. The Treasury, people's Treasury.
Right. It's the people's
not
money.
The Federal Reserve. Right.
We are not $16 trillion in debt, you, me, and all your listeners. There is no debt. The money is printed out of thin air. You agree. You know how it works. It's printed out of thin air. The debt is to the corporation, not the people. So all America has to do, and remember I said America, not the United States, is do like the little tiny country of Iceland did and arrest the bankers.
Yes.
When you take out the bankers, you take out the politicians, and it's a domino effect. You go back to debt-free. Slavery never ended. We're all enslaved by debt. When you print money out of thin air and you charge the Treasury interest, if you take $100 and you charge 5% interest to the Treasury, that's $105, and the Treasury charges interest to Wall Street, and Wall Street charges interest to the banks, and the banks charge interest to you, you cannot get out of debt.
No.
You're a slave to them.
So you would agree with me when I say that the Federal Reserve is the root of all of our evils. As a matter of fact, it's going to require, I believe, and I'm speaking as a former United States Marine, a veteran who's calling for the U.S. military to actually show, as peacefully, okay, show that we are serious as a people to say to the Federal Reserve, give us the printing press. Give it. You're done. It's over. No more debt. Give us the printing press now. And we will need literally a military, an army to make that happen.
Well, that's one way to do it if you can get the military to back you, but I don't believe you can do that. But it's one way to do it. Now, I could be wrong. And God knows I'm not. The last perfect man was crucified, and the last perfect man threw the money changers out of the temple. Why? Excessive interest.
That's right.
Okay. So, you either get the military to take hold of the government and lock them all up for treasonous crimes, or you wait for them to come back to their individual states. And the only way that I know to do this is you either swear out a warrant for treason through a sheriff, and good luck there, or as citizens, you use the power of citizens arrest, and you arrest them. Now, if they all know that they're coming back home to get arrested, they can only do one of two things: stay in that 10 square mile or leave the country.
Yeah, that's a great point. Yeah, because that corporation is protected within that separate, just like you were mentioning yesterday, the Vatican is its own separate country.
Right.
And if you keep them contained, and I understand those principles, but I'll tell you what, if Washington, D.C., okay, and hear me out, because this is what's shaping up. Everyone keeps saying it's not going to happen because Congress won't be in session come November 5th. So who are you going to go arrest? You know what? I say that we use November 5th if those seats are vacated and the town is desolate. I say that's the perfect opportunity for us to go in, disband that corporation, take those seats, make sure that they never come back to that again. And, of course, I like your idea to arrest these politicians that haven't come clean before the November 5th date and arrest them if they decide that they want to stay on that side of the law.
Right.
Yeah, but
now,
I think
you and I both know the fact that I've even made this phone call and this is going out over the airways. You know, it wouldn't surprise me if I don't get a visitation from some alphabetical agency. But I don't live in fear anymore. Cooper woke me up. I was like you, Alex Jones, and then I started questioning stuff he was doing. He's always selling something that's about the money, and I learned. Let me just share this with you because you don't know me and I don't know you, but I want to share this with you, Pete, and I don't want to take up a lot of your time.
No, I told you to call back in today. I want to give you as much time as you need. I've enjoyed hearing everything that you're saying. Absolutely, I want you to speak with our listeners and to me.
Okay. Cooper talked a lot about freedom, American independence, truth, and honor. And if you take those first letters of freedom, American independence, truth, and honor, that's faith. So through faith, I had a child when I'm not supposed to be able to have children. And I named her Faith. And then I named my company Faith. And when people go to my website and they visit my site and they see those words, it's words you don't hear anymore. But it like makes people think. Freedom, American independence, truth, and honor. Wow. We don't hear those words. Those words aren't taught in the government schools. Those words aren't put out over the major media. And Suzanne Posel's dead on when she talks about, alternative media being infiltrated. And Cooper tried to warn us about Alex Jones. He called him a sniveling little twit. Those were Bill Cooper's words. And like Lincoln and Andrew Jackson and JFK and Jesus Christ, that man stood up to the bankers, and they executed him in his front yard.
Yeah.
Yeah, because and that may happen to me in my front yard. Yeah. But I do know where I'm going as a believer. Okay.
Yeah. I believe as well. I believe that now is the time for us to have faith. Faith in, you know what? We want freedom. We don't want slavery. We need to have faith in ourselves as individuals to wake ourselves up. And I'm going to be talking about this very subject, about the individual mind. And one of the reasons why this show has gained such popularity in alternative media. But we need to have faith in the fact that if we detach ourselves, and I've heard this over and over again, Suzanne Posel speaks of this, all of us that have been trying to figure out what the heck's going on have been saying, you know what, if we just opt out of this system, if we just stop and resist this system,
right,
this mass communication scam, they're trying to control their masses, they're trying to get us to basically submit to their slavery. If we say, you know what, we're going to opt out of this system, we have the faith that we can do this as individuals, that we can change the world literally overnight. Don't you agree?
I absolutely agree. One town, all politics are local, one town, one person, one mind, one town, one county, one state at a time. And it wouldn't take long, but waking the people up. And remember, it was only 5% of the people that Boston Tea Party that revolted against the Kings.
Yeah.
It was only 5% of the people. You got 300 million people in this country. If 5% of them, that's 15 million people.
Yeah, that's right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes, sir. Listen, unless you want to come back after the break, or you want to just plan to call in the future, you can call in any time, Roy.
I got like 2 minutes, and then if you'd let me remain through the break, that'd be great.
Over the break here, just real quick, all right? Ladies and gentlemen, Roy, I love hearing exactly what he's talking about. Quick break, we'll be right back with Roy. Roy, you still there?
Yeah, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Oh, can you imagine? Yeah, well, you know what's remarkable, Roy?
What?
We're talking about some pretty serious stuff. Hold on 1 second. I need to restart my recording. So we're 42 minutes into it. Here we go. All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, I can't stand it when other talk show hosts believe in alternative media, that is. They believe that they're so important that the government would want to just shut them down. Right? Hello?
Yes.
You there?
Yeah, I can hear you, Pete.
We literally just got shut down. Seriously, I have the fastest internet connection that you could ever possibly have. I was having problems earlier with Blog Talk Radio, but I don't have any problems with my internet connection unless I get on and start talking on the show. But weird things happen. It makes you wonder when we're talking about some of the most serious topics in our nation's history. And when my internet connection goes off, it just makes me wonder. So here we are, Roy.
It's by design, Pete. The more the truth gets out, the more they're going to try to, interrupt your connections. At some point they'll cancel the cell signal. I'm sure that's coming next. But anyhow, I don't want to tie up your show. I know you've got other callers. I just want to say this. God bless you and your staff and Mrs. Posel, because you haven't prostituted yourself to the almighty dollar.
Mm-hmm.
You're standing on integrity.
Mm-hmm.
You're standing on freedom, American independence, truth, and honor. How's that for a battle cry? Faith.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. Mm-hmm.
Now, I agree with you. If while their lame duck Congress is out of there, we ought to fill the seats. And by the way, there's only 545 of these politicians that are jerking the chain. That's all there is, controlling 300 billion. Okay.
Yeah.
The qualification ought to be, hey, you're out of a job, you're in the seat, and the seat pays nothing.
Yeah.
That ought to be the qualification.
Until we can restructure.
So we can restructure. We filed bankruptcy on the Fed because it's not our debt. The debt doesn't exist. It's a lie that you even hear 16 trillion, 60 trillion, all this. It's all bullshit.
Yeah.
There is no debt. Anything created out of thin air is non-existent, folks. Period. You don't need a degree in a PhD for simple common sense. There is no debt. And that's what they're afraid of, that the American people will wake up to. So,
you're
corporation, that's your debt. You file bankruptcy, you're out. We're going back to the Constitution, and we're going to print our money, call it greenback, whatever you want to call it, debt-free. There is no debt. There is no slavery.
There is no slavery. We need to opt out.
We opt out. We take our money back first, and then we vote in the right people. And by the way, let's have a paper trail on the votes. Only country in the world that doesn't have a paper trail.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? They manipulate the votes because it's all electronic. And the media is complicit. They were announcing Obama as the winner before the votes were even back from the West Coast of the country. You know? So we take back our money. We put in real, God-fearing, love your country, do the right thing. That's what we do. That's first step, second step, and the third step is get God, faith in the Creator, back into the public society. Our country was founded on 10 simple, basic commandments that are on the doors of the Supreme Court. Moses is carved in marble above the Supreme Court holding 10 commandments. It's right there in your face, you know.
Yeah.
You know, for people to say that America wasn't founded on biblical principles are people that are brainwashed.
Yeah, I think even the atheists would benefit from our nation having that level of faith. Even the atheists.
Yeah,
would.
You know what an atheist would say? Yeah, I'm an atheist. I swear to God.
That's right. Hey, Roy, thank you so much for calling in. Listen, stay really, really close, and you're welcome to call in at any time. I wanted to listen to you, and I really appreciate you calling back in and saying what you had to say, because I think we've all benefited from it. So thank you very much.
If you can get that host, that kid you had 2 weeks ago on your show from Colorado that understood the common law, you know, he's the guy that could write it how to go after these guys, these politicians, when they all come back to their appropriate states. He's the guy that probably knows how to do it.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I've listened to everything you've said, and I believe that everything you've said is exactly what we need to do as a nation to understand it. Everything that you've talked about is very, very powerful. But thanks for calling in, Roy.
You're welcome, brother. God bless you.
All right.
And your staff.
All right. Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you.